Welcome to the 3 p.m. bake along. We are making Easter treats today. Happy Easter, everybody! Da, 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 da. I've decorated the kitchen because I can. Lovely decorations donated by my sister Catherine. She delivered them to me. I hope you've got all of your bits and bobs ready. The other thing that I need to remind you about is your Easter eggs, because you will need them to decorate your Easter treats once they are made. It's exciting times. Easter, the sun's out. We're pretty much living in Ibiza over here. We figured that if we pretend we're on holiday, we won't mind not seeing our family because we don't always go on holiday with them. It's absolutely normal. Right, get all your bits and bobs ready. Get all your ingredients out. Weigh scales, very, very official. Need them. And we also need a pan because our Cracknell, our school Cracknell, is going to be made in the pan on the hob. So get all your things ready. You will need one tin like this. Spring form's really good, they're easy to open and close. But if you don't have a spring form one, just any round cake tin. You can use a square cake tin if you've got one. I'm using an 8-inch tin. It makes quite a nice deep cheesecake, but if you've got a bigger one, that's absolutely fine. Your cheesecake will just be a little bit shallower. And line it on the base with a little bit of baking paper. We don't want to grease it or anything because we don't want to put extra butter in our cheesecake, and it will come out quite easily, but just make sure your base has got a bit of baking paper in there, and that will help you to get your cheesecake out of your tin later. The other thing you will need for your Easter, what are they called? Nests, Easter nests, is some cake cases, cupcake cases in a cupcake tray. As you can see, I do not have enough cupcake cases, but that's absolutely fine. They won't stick very much to our tin. So all I'm going to do, if you don't have any cupcake cases, gosh, that's a lot of a mouthful, isn't it? Cupcake cases, is we're just going to cut. I wanted to show you this because it's one of them things that people probably don't have in their cupboard all the time. We're going to cut some squares of baking paper to line our cupcake cases. And all we're going to do is screw them up into a ball, show you this, and squish them into the bottom. They don't need to be perfect because you're going to be pressing your mixture into them anyway. So screw up your paper, move this out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. Screw up your little squares of paper, this is if you don't have any cupcake cases. Flatten them out and just press them into the base of your cupcakes like that. It's literally just so that you can get them out easier. They'll hold themselves together anyway, so you don't necessarily need the cupcake cases. It's just to stop your hands getting messy and to help you get them out of your tin. So there we go, some homemade cupcake cases and some bought cupcake cases in your cupcake tray. Wow, it's like some sort of tongue twister. Right, happy Easter everybody. The other thing that I want to make sure that you've all got is a beverage. Because it's 3 p.m. and it's Saturday and the sun's shining, which means we're allowed to have a beverage. Our cocktail maker, James Goff, will be in to top us up at some point. Now, as usual, I want to make sure that my video is up here, ready, so that I can see your comments as they come in. Just delay the start a little bit so that everyone's got time to get on board and start baking. We don't need our ovens today, so your ovens don't need to be on. No need to get ourselves overheated in this already glorious hot weather. How do you know all this baking knowledge? Years of experience, Sarah. Years of eating cake has given me the knowledge that I have today. Hi everybody, hi Jean. Right, there we are, up and running. Comments on the go. Let's get baking. Chocolate cheesecake is what we are going to make first. So, what you will need is your 250 grams of digestive biscuits, and we are going to mush them into dust. You can do this in a sandwich bag if you like. I don't have any sandwich bags, so I'm going to be doing mine in a bowl, and I'm just going to use the end of a rolling pin to mush them. Let's turn this down a little bit so that you can see what we're doing down here. There we go. So, measure out 250 grams of digestive biscuits into a bowl, and we're just going to mash them into dust. And that's literally all we need to do. It's pretty much all of these biscuits is what we need. Perfect, look at that. 251 grams. Absolute perfection. Recycle the packet. Now, ooh, terrible noise. We're going to mash them I'm going to use a rolling pin, but if you've got, oh, I've got the base of the, don't want that in there. If you've got a sandwich bag, then put your biscuits in a sandwich bag and use the back of a spoon or your hands to kind of mush them up. That helps to keep all your biscuits in one place while you're mushing them. How's everyone doing? What if you don't have baking paper? What I would do is just spread a little bit of butter on the bottom of your tin just to make sure that your biscuit base doesn't stick, but I wouldn't put any butter at the sides. So if you haven't got any baking paper for your tin, not for your Cracknell, it doesn't matter with the Cracknell, they won't stick very much, but your cheesecake, you could use a little bit of butter on a kitchen tissue and just spread a bit of butter really thinly on the bottom of your base, and that'll just help to stop your biscuit base from sticking. You can also use foil as well. If you've got some foil, put a bit of foil at the bottom of your cake tin as well. Right, we're mushing biscuits, everybody. Down, down, down. Mushing up biscuits. And then we are going to melt our butter, pour it on, and that essentially is your biscuit base. Now, you can use pretty much any biscuit for this biscuit base. Digestives work best and taste best. But let's say you really wanted to make a cheesecake and you happen to have any sort of plain biscuit, shortbread. I had some rich tea biscuits left over from biscuit cake. So you can use pretty much any plain biscuit to make the cheesecake base. So if you're ever stuck and you desperately need cheesecake, which let's face it is all the time, then try it with a different kind of biscuit. Or you can make it with like Oreos and have a chocolate biscuit base. That's really nice. Chocolate digestives work well as well for a chocolatey biscuit base. You could do like a spiced cheesecake and use ginger nuts on your base. Right, here we go. Our biscuits are now pulverised into mush. A good trick is to give it a shake and all the chunks, the bigger chunks, come to the surface. Give it a shake, mash the chunks. You wouldn't want to mess with me, would you? If you're a digestive biscuit, beware. Right, there we go. Biscuits all smashed into mush. That's absolutely perfect. Now, we will measure and melt our butter. So we need 120 grams of butter. I'm going to just put it in a microwavable dish. I'm going to cut it into little squares, pop it into a microwavable dish, and we're going to melt it in the microwave nice and slowly. We don't want to boil our butter, that is the last thing you want. So break your butter into chunks. If you're using stalk, it will melt a lot quicker. So just spoon your stalk into your bowl, microwavable dish of any sort, and then get it melting in the microwave. How's everyone getting on? Hi everybody, welcome to Saturday Kitchen with Soph. I'm amazed every day at how well Phil and Holly are doing on this morning. It must be weird having to stay away from each other if they're managing it. Right, I miss Saturday. I miss Sunday brunch as well. Sunday brunch wasn't on last week. I miss a bit of them pair. Right, but this is Saturday Kitchen. This is our Saturday Kitchen. So remember, you're measuring 120 grams of butter into a microwavable dish. 120 grams. 119 grams. We're one missing. That'll be absolutely fine. Tidy up as you go. Don't want a messy surface. And we are going to put our butter in the microwave for 20 seconds to melt. And we're going to check on it after 20 seconds. Sunny day, living in Ibiza. Alexa, play History.
History.
It's tunes over there. Sip your beverage in between melting butter. Essential part of the process. Check on your butter. Make sure it's not boiling. We want it melted and runny, but not too hot. There we go. Give it a bit of a mix. Pop it back in for another 20 seconds. Sip your beverage. This is what it's all about, everyone. It's Saturday, the sun's out. Make a cake, have a beverage. Pretend we're not living in the world that we're living in. That's the essential part of this whole thing. Keep our spirits up. Okay. Alexa, volume 1. She's always interrupting me, Alexa. She's my only friend at the moment. Not my only friend, I have lots of lovely friends who do lovely things for me. Drop me off beautiful things. I'll have 3 Easter eggs. That's why one of them's Jim's. 1. 3 lovely Easter eggs from family. Because they're marvellous. Right. So your butter should be melted now. Over there. Nice and runny, not too hot. And we're literally just going to pour it in on top of our biscuits. Get my trusty spatula, which I haven't got out yet. Spatula! Marvellous spatula. Make sure you get all of the butter out of whatever receptacle you have melted it in. And in on top of your crumbly biscuits. Because we want a really nice buttery biscuit base. That's exactly what we're looking for. A nice buttery biscuit base. Dun, dun, dun. I love it when I activate other people's Alexas. I feel like somebody should be doing this, should be doing like a DJ session with Alexa, where everyone just brings their Alexas really close to their microphones and their speakers when there's a live video on. And then the DJ can tell Alexa what to play. Best thing in the world. Right, so you've added your butter to your mushed up biscuits. If you see any big chunks of biscuit in there, just give them a bit of a mash with your spoon or your spatula. And then all we need to do with this is put it into our cake tin and smush it down. Bring over your cake tin. Again, don't worry if it's not lined, because this base is mostly butter, which means it won't stick too much to the base. And worst case scenario, you can just keep it in the tin and take a slice out. So pop all of your biscuit base into your cake tin. I like a nice thick biscuit base. I mean, who doesn't really? A nice thick buttery biscuit base on my cheesecake. Press it all down. Make sure it's nice and evenly spread out. And I'm just going around with my spatula in all the corners, pressing it right down. Needs to be really, really well compressed all over, because this is what's going to help to hold your base together. This pressing motion is going to hold your base together so that when you slice it, when it's all finished, the base won't fall apart. So go around a few times. Oh, I'm getting myself all hot and bothered. Woo! Press, 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 press. I'm glad we're not using an oven today because it is hot in here already. Got all the doors open, boiling hot. Not that I'm complaining. It's weird, isn't it, UK? You go from one extreme to the other. Winter, summer, there's no in between. Cold, 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 hot, hot, hot. As soon as it happens, we all strip off, naked in the garden. Well, Jim is. Jim's sunbathing. Not naked, but mostly. I might give you a peek in a bit. Right, we've pressed all of our biscuit base in, like so. Should be all well compressed into the bottom of your cake tin. Now we're going to pop that in the fridge to cool down. Clear yourself a little space in your fridge. And once all of your crumbly biscuit base is pressed into your cake tin, whack it in the fridge to cool. Make sure we've got no questions. Everyone getting on okay? Have a sip of your beverage. Essential part of baking today. I've got two ciders in there. I've got one fruit flavour and another fruit flavour, and I just mix the two together because that's the way I roll. I'm a rogue. Right, next part of our cheesecake, we are going to mix our cheese part. Now, you'd think it was weird, cheese and cake, but I tell you what, it works really well. It's this whole thing of savoury and sweet mixed together, and when you add a nice soft cream cheese to a beautiful chocolate sugary cheesecake, really is the best dessert you can ever have. So what we are going to do is we are going to measure, well, we're going to put our rolling pin away because we don't need that anymore. We're going to measure our cream cheese. We need 225 grams of soft cheese. Now I am using Philadelphia, however I have used other cream cheeses in the past. I've used mascarpone, I've used Sainsbury's own, you know, just general bog standard soft cheese. So anything works well, but the one thing that you do need is full fat cream cheese. There's no point trying to get yourself a diet cream cheese because for one thing, you're adding a lot of other calories in there, so it's not really going to help your waistline. And also, it doesn't set very well. Diet cream cheese goes very, very runny, and we want it to be nice and thick and creamy. So, we need 225 grams of soft cheese. Smells good. Oh, the biscuit base. The biscuit base does smell good. If you've never smelled a biscuit base, get your nose in there and have a whiff of your biscuit base, because it does smell very good. Right, 225 grams of these tubs. It's just under a tub and a half, which is annoying really. I wish they'd made this recipe so that it was perfectly like one tub. That would save me having a small, you know what, I'm going to put it in. I'm not going to waste that bit of cheese because we're not going to use it. So I'm going to put it in. Right, now pop those cheese packets out of the way, and we are now going to measure our caster sugar into our cream cheese. So you've got 225 grams of cream cheese in your bowl, and onto that you're going to put your caster sugar. Now we need, move my recipe, we need 100 grams of caster sugar to go on top of our cream cheese. There we go, 100 grams, and then I'm going to whip this all up until it's nicely combined and all nice and smooth. First I'm going to make sure everyone's doing okay. I've missed the butter. Yes, don't panic. All we've done so far, if you've missed a few steps, is we've mashed our biscuits into oblivion. We have then melted our 120 grams worth of butter in a jug. This was my melting jug in the microwave. We've mixed it in with our biscuit, and we've pressed our biscuit base into the bottom of our cake tin, and then pop it in the fridge to cool. Now here we have our 225 grams of cream cheese and our 120 grams of caster sugar in a bowl together, the union of sweet and savoury right in front of us, and we're going to whip it up. Now normally I would use my electric hand whisk for this, so feel free to use your electric hand whisk, as it will work much quicker than doing it by hand like this. But I can't be bothered to keep cleaning my electric hand whiskers, and I'll need them for my double cream, so I'm kind of being lazy. Half lazy and half not. It's going to take me more energy to whip it up this way, but at least I won't have to clean my whisk. I can just use my electric one for the double cream. So we're whipping up our cream cheese and our caster sugar. So all you want is to make sure that your cream cheese and your caster sugar is all well combined, and we're just whipping it until it's nice and smooth. We want no lumps in there. We want all of our cream cheese nice and smooth, all combined in with our caster sugar. No lumps of sugar in there, no lumps of just cheese. Whip it up, lovely. Look at that, fabulous. Smooth and creamy. Well, that's how we like our cheese. Oh, then take a breath, take a sip of your beverage. This could be a drinking game, couldn't it? One shot. If you've whipped by hand like me, you've earned yourself 2 sips of beverage. Before we carry on. Oh, this'll be fun. The more I get through, the more hilarious this baking situation is going to be. Whoa, flipped a bit of cheese. So, we've just whipped up our cheese and our sugar. The next thing we want to do is melt our chocolate. So, in another microwavable receptacle, I quite like using jugs for this, but alas, the only jug I have left is too big to fit in the microwave. So I'm just going to use a little bowl, and we're going to break in our chocolate. We want, not 300 mils, we want 200 grams of dark chocolate. And I'm going to break it up into small cubes if I can, because it's going to melt a lot quicker if it's in small pieces. That one didn't want to be in there, so I shall eat that bit. So, we've whipped up our cheese and our sugar. We have our biscuit base in the fridge cooling, and I'm melting my chocolate. 200 grams of dark chocolate. I always use the shop's own brand chocolate, and it always works really, really well. So don't worry about using fancy chocolate, really expensive chocolate, because the own brand stuff works just as well. And you can use any kind of chocolate you like for this. This is a really good base recipe for any kind of chocolate cheesecake. I made it as a white chocolate cheesecake, which was really nice. But you kind of need a bit of extra chocolate of the white chocolate. It doesn't have as much flavour as dark. So I kind of put in a bit, like double the amount of white chocolate. 200 grams of dark chocolate, broken up into pieces. Don't add any foil because that's not going to do anything for the flavour. 200 grams of chocolate, broken up into pieces, if I can. Well, that can just go in whole. And then we are going to melt this slowly in the microwave. Now you can do this over a bain-marie, which is basically a simmering pot of water with a bowl balanced over the top. But I find it just as easy to do it in the microwave. As long as you keep an eye on it, it won't burn. So, there's our 200 grams of chocolate, and I'm putting it in the microwave to start with for 20 seconds. And then thereafter, we're going to do 10-second intervals because we do not want to burn our chocolate. Chocolate melts very, very quickly and very easily. It doesn't melt, then it all melts in one go and burns. And the microwave is going to speed that up rapidly. So we want to keep an eye on it. We don't want it to melt too quickly, and we definitely don't want it to burn. So we're going to take it out and stir it every time. Now I've got a small bowl and a lot of chocolate, so each time I take it out, after every 10 seconds, I'm going to give it a little mix up and make sure that those top pieces are getting some time on the bottom of the bowl, because the bottom will always melt a bit quicker in the microwave. Right, wrap up the remainder of my chocolate. Check on that again. It's a great recipe because you don't really require the oven. It's all about melting and chilling, and that is pretty much all we are doing. So each time your chocolate comes out of the microwave, we're giving it a mix. Even though it doesn't look like it's melted hardly at all, trust me when I say you do not want to put your chocolate in the microwave for any longer than 10 seconds at a time. Tidy up a little bit as I go along. No rubbish in the recycling. Every 10 seconds, we're giving it a stir, and you will start to see that the bowl is heating up, and those chunks of chocolate that are on the bottom are starting to melt. What happens is the bowl tends to hold the heat more than the chocolate does, and it's actually the bowl that's going to help us to melt our chocolate chunks. Right, carry on with this. Another 10 seconds. It's so tempting just to think, I'm just going to chuck it in there for a minute and see what happens. It's disastrous. If anyone has ever had to go through the smell of burnt chocolate in their kitchens, it's not something I want to repeat. Okay, another 10 seconds. And each time, you will see it melting a bit more. And this stirring helps it to melt as well. Each time you give it a mix, you can start to break down the chunks a bit with your spoon. And turning those lumps of chocolate into the chocolate that's already melted is going to help it to melt a lot more evenly and stop it from burning. So we've just got to keep on with this. 10 seconds at a time. Try not to eat the chocolate as it's melting. And we can have a sip of our beverage. Time to have a drink. Sip of your beverage, everybody. Cheers. It doesn't give us much time for sipping our beverage, but we'll get along. Another 10 seconds has gone. See what Alexa's playing. Alexa, volume 6. Melt your chocolate, melt your chocolate, melt your chocolate. Break down those chunks with your spoon. It's like a rave. It's like a cake rave. What we're getting on. I'm not a good rave. I don't know if you can tell. Another 10 seconds. Come on, get it. Alexa, volume 2. top to melt chocolate was not a clever idea. Right, now, once you get to this stage where the majority of your chocolate is melted, you can actually, the more you mix it, the more it melts. And this is going to be a great way of stopping your chocolate from overheating. Because if you add really, really hot chocolate into your cheesecake mix, it's going to cause you a lot of problems. So once you get to this stage where the majority of your chocolate is melted, stop and give it a really good mix. This is going to help to continue to melt the chocolate without overheating it. Like I said, the bowl is still warm, so that heat from the bowl is going to transfer to our chocolate and continue to melt it even outside of the microwave. Clever, huh? Keep stirring. Now I think mine needs to go in probably just for another 10 seconds. I'm going to make sure it's well mixed before I do it. Put my chocolate spoon somewhere where it's not going to get chocolate everywhere. Another 10 seconds and that will be done. Do you like my bunny? It's the kitchen roll. It was a great idea until I needed to get some kitchen roll out. Wipe all the chocolate off the surface. Be very careful when taking your chocolate out of the microwave because the bowl gets hot. And the bowl was so hot once that I dropped it all over the floor. That didn't look great, I'm not going to lie. Looked like somebody had a very big accident. Okay, now, I've only got a few little chunks of chocolate that haven't melted, and I'm going to use the back of my spoon to kind of mush them into the bottom of the bowl. And this is going to help them to melt without us having to put this chocolate back in the microwave. Hopefully you're doing okay and you're keeping up and melting your chocolate. I'm going to check, make sure I've got no questions. What am I doing with the butter? Oh, I'm not sure what you've done, Rebecca, with your butter. You shouldn't have added it to your cheese. Philly light will be okay, Kate. It won't be quite as... It might be a little bit runnier. But all you need to do really is leave your cheesecake to set for a bit longer, but it'll be absolutely fine. Oh, happy birthday again. Yeah, it's my dad's birthday today. Oh, in fact, Alexa, play Eurasia. It's my dad's favourite song. Which one is it? I can't remember the name. She's refused. She's refused! It's my dad's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. I'll play you a song in a bit. Oh, she's decided to do it. Or she just said, I don't like songs by Eurasia. Crazy. Right, now as you can see, just from me stirring my chocolate, those few little lumps that were in there have now melted. And I'm going to leave this to one side now to cool down a little bit. Right, I'm just going to check on Rebecca because what am I doing with the butter? Is it mixed in with the sugar and the cream? No. So your butter is for your biscuit base. The only thing you need butter for is your buttery biscuit base. You should have melted your butter and added it to your crumbly biscuits and then put it in your cake tin to chill. Dun, dun, yes, I love setting people's Alexa off. What's the name of the song that Dad likes by Eurasia Law? I need to know the song so I can play it. Right, we've got our cream cheese and our caster sugar that we've whipped up. We've got our melted chocolate set to one side to cool. Now we just want to whip up our double cream. So I'm going to give my biscuit bowl a bit of a rinse. And this is going to be our cream whipping bowl. So get yourself a clean bowl. Get yourself a clean bowl out. And your electric hand whisk, if you've got one. If not, don't panic. Give your whisk that you used for your cheese a bit of a clean, and you can use that. It will just take you a little bit longer, but it's absolutely fine. Right, and we're going to measure out our double cream. So, we need 300 mils of double cream. If you didn't know, mils and grams are exactly the same thing. So I'm measuring, let's use this one first. I'm using 300 grams of double cream. 300 grams or 300 mils of double cream. It's going into my nice clean bowl. This tub should be exactly 300 mils. We've been scammed. It's only 280. It's absolutely fine. I've got another one right here. Oh, it's fresh. It's just been left uncovered. It's got a little bit of a film. Right, so 300 mils or grams of double cream is going into your bowl, and we're going to whip this up. There we go, 300 mils of double cream. Get my trusty electric hand whisk out. Did we get the name of the song? Anyone? No? Alexa's telling me off, I don't know why. Alexa, stop. She keeps like chiming in and telling me, Alexa, stop. Thank you for listening to history. Right, now we're going to whip up our cream, and that is it. We've got our digestive base cooling in the fridge. We've got our dark chocolate melted and cooling. We've mixed our Philadelphia cream cheese and our sugar. Now all we need to do is whip up our cream and then mix the three together. So here we go. Now your cream wants to be whipped to quite a thick consistency, but it shouldn't go dry because it will be much harder to mix in with our other ingredients if it gets to a stage where it's over whipped and dry. So keep an eye on it. As soon as it starts to hold shape, like that, we're going to stop whipping. That whipped very quickly. It's extra cold cream. How's everyone doing? Dun, 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 dun. Everyone okay? I don't know what that means. Enlighten me. Yeah, mils and grams are the same. That's all I can tell you. There's no more to say. Mils and grams are exactly the same thing. Right. Now, we've whipped up our cream. Clean off my whisks here. And now we're ready to add everything together. Now this is the point where things can go a little bit wrong, which is why I wanted to prepare each part of our cheesecake separately so that we can mix them all together and not get stuck if anything won't mix very well. So the general idea is we're going to add our cheese and our cream together first, and then we're going to add our chocolate last. So I want you to add your whipped up cream cheese and sugar into the bowl with your whipped cream, and then fold it in. So we don't want to be too vigorous with it, we just want to gently fold our whipped cream and our cream cheese together. Now this essentially is your cheesecake. We've got our cream, we've got our cheese and our sugar. So you could use this as a plain cheesecake if you wanted to. Add a bit of fruit to it or something like that. Now once that's all incorporated and mixed together, we're going to add our dark chocolate and do the same thing. Just give it a stir and give it a mix. So the first thing I'm going to do, clean off my spatula, clean off my lovely chocolate spoon. It's been stirring my chocolate so that we don't lose any chocolate. And then we're going to pour in, make sure it's not too hot. If it's too hot, I'd leave it to cool a little bit. Mine's pretty cool anyway, so it's not too bad. Pour in your wonderful dark chocolate and mix it all in. Don't take too much time with this. Get in there, give it all a good mix. We don't want any of our chocolate to start to harden and go into chunks. So be quite vigorous with it. We're not trying to hold too much air in our whipped cream or anything, so make sure you're getting right to the bottom, all around the sides. Get all of that chocolate really well mixed and incorporated with your other ingredients, and it should be coming together into a nice smooth cheesecake filling, just like this. Turn so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm just vigorously going through, keep turning the mixture, scraping the sides of the bowl, and then the last thing I'm going to do is come back to our chocolate bowl and make sure that I haven't missed any of this lovely chocolate, because this is where all of our lovely flavour comes from, and we don't want to miss out on any of it. Keep mixing that, and that, my darlings, is your cheesecake. So we can whip our cheesecake base out of the fridge and add this to the top. Right, move everything out of the way so you can see what we're doing. bring out your cheesecake. Now the other thing that we can do to this cheesecake is add some little extra things to our base if we wanted to. What I'm going to add is a few sneaky little eggs, so that when you cut into it, you get a little surprise at the bottom of a couple of eggs. So I'm just going to dot a few eggs around the base of my cheesecake, just like this. Sneaky little surprise in there for somebody. And then all you need to do is pour all of that wonderful filling. Well, I've just noticed a blob that is unmixed. So I'm going to put that back in and mix that up. A bit of cream got stuck at the bottom of the bowl. It's absolutely fine. These things happen. But don't let it go into your cheesecake unmixed. So bring it back into your bowl and give it another mix before you pour it on top of your biscuit base. Well, that was a terrible job of mixing, clearly, because there's other lumps of whipped cream there. There we go. Scrape all of the filling out. Pour it into your cake tin. Make sure you don't miss any. This is where, if you don't have one of these wonderful rubber spatulas, they really come in handy, because you can use it to scrape everything off from around the edges of your bowl until it's almost completely clean. There we go, all of our cheesecake filling, and we're just going to spread it across our base. Just like this. And then this will need to sit and set in the fridge for a couple of hours before it's ready to cut. Spread your cheesecake, and we are going to top it with some little treats as well. Again, this is just for your taste. You can put whatever you like on this, really. Little Easter eggs, or sprinkle a bit of chocolate on top. Just make sure that you're getting it nice and level and even into your cake tin, like so. We don't want to waste all of this that's on the back of there. Spread it all out nicely. Oh, it's very nice. Feel free to taste your cheesecake filling. Right, we're going to get some more eggs. And the other thing that I've got is some of these mini Malteser bunnies. I'm going to hide some little mini Malteser bunnies into my cheesecake, as if they're looking for eggs. Squidge them in there. Why not? Put a few of them around. May have squidged him in a bit too much and pull him out a little bit. He was like waist deep into the cheesecake. Alright, get your little bunnies out. If you decorate your cheesecake now, whatever you put in there is going to set into it, which helps when if you're transporting your cheesecake, your eggs won't roll away, which is why I like to put them on now, rather than once it's all set. And then just carry on as you like, decorating your cheesecake however you feel is good for you. A few little these eggs around for our bunnies to keep an eye over. A few little ones in the middle. I'll eat that one. We've even got some of these mini egg ones, M&M ones. They're really fun colours in these. Look at these ones. Ooh. Can't have enough mini eggs. That is one thing that you need to know in life. You never have too many mini eggs. Pop them around. And then we have it. Easter chocolate cheesecake. That can go in your fridge now. And you want it to set for a good couple of hours before you cut it and eat it. But we're not going anywhere, because we've still got some more treats to make. Now this next recipe is a really, really simple one and great to make if you're in a hurry. If you want something nice and sweet and you're in a hurry, this is perfect because it takes no time at all. Alexa, did we ever find out what the name of my dad's favourite song? Jim! He's got his headphones on, he's not listening to me. Alexa, play Eurasia.
Shuffling songs by Eurasia on Amazon Music.
Thank you. I don't know if this is Alexa, volume 7. This could be the song that my dad likes. No, it's not. It's my favourite. But it's good. Tidy up your areas. Hi Joanne. I've got quick whipping cream. That's all I can tell you. Secret. Tidy up. Alexa, skip. Have a sip of your beverages. You've earned it. It's not this one either. I know, it's so tasty. Lift that spoon. Alexa, skip. Give you a breather while you get your cheesecakes in the fridge. And I'm going to try and find out what song my dad likes. I've got it, I've got it. Alexa, play Eurasia Respect.
A Little Respect, 2009 remastered version by Eurasia, starting now on Amazon Music.
This best be the right one. Yes, it is. Happy birthday, Dad. It's my dad's favourite song. One of them. I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Okay, get your pans out. Oh, my hand is terrible. Hand time. I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. And a sip of your beverage. Cheers, Dad. Happy birthday. Alexa, volume 1. Right, now, on to our next recipe. We are going to be making some little Easter nests with a recipe that I kind of tried to recreate from old school Cracknell that you used to have at school. Now, I was a very chubby child, and this was a staple of my daily food intake. And I figured out that it's basically butter, cocoa powder and golden syrup, and that's all it is. The only thing that you need to work out is the ratio. So this is the closest I could kind of get to perfect school Cracknell. How's everyone doing? It's a great song. Everyone's doing okay. No questions, no worries so far, so we are doing well. Hopefully everyone's cheesecakes are now in their fridge cooling. We are going to add to our pan 150 grams of butter. Alexa, volume 10. Alexa, volume 1. Get in there for a bit of the chorus. Right, so we've got 150 grams of butter. Then we are going to put into that 200 grams of golden syrup. 200 grams of golden syrup is going in on top of our butter. Now, Lies golden syrup is the best one to use, but this is what they had at Aldi, so this is what I'm using. 200 grams of golden syrup on top of our butter. Make sure that I don't get too much in there. This is one of those that you can be a little bit less stringent on your recipes. It doesn't need to be too precise. You can pretty much just blob it in however you like and taste it as you go along to try and get the recipe just right. If you stick to this, it's going to be a pretty good treat, but if you fancy giving it a whirl yourself and kind of tasting the mixture as you go along, then feel free. Right, now we want to add to this, just popping it all in the same pan and then melting it on the oven, that's all it is. We're going to put 50 grams of cocoa powder. Now, I did try one when it was almost equal parts of cocoa powder to everything else, but cocoa is very light, and you'll see 50 grams is actually quite a lot of cocoa powder. But trust in the recipe because it will taste amazing. Right, there we go. We've got all of our ingredients for our cracknell in there. 200 grams of golden syrup, 150 grams of butter and 50 grams of cocoa powder. And we're going to put it on the hob on a low heat and we're going to let that melt away and mix it up. And that's all we need to do. Clean up one of my trusty spatulas so that I can give it a mix. Hope everyone's doing well. How's everyone getting along? And then you can use any cereal you want for this. I'm going to be using Special Flakes by Morrison's because they didn't have any cornflakes. Cornflakes work best, but you literally can use absolutely any cereal you want for this. There is no rhyme or reason to it. I think the only thing that would work is porridge. I mean, it probably would, but it'd just be a bit weird. You could probably make like chocolate flapjacks with this, with porridge. But other than porridge, any other cereal that you've got is going to work. You could use them cinnamon cereals, or you could use hoops. You could use hoop cereal, hula hoop things. Or you can use Rice Krispies and do Rice Krispie cakes. Any cereal is going to work for this. Maybe Weetabix, not so much as well. Weetabix maybe wouldn't be so great. But the other ones that are similar to Weetabix, that look like little twigs, they're actually really good to use because when you break them all up and then reassemble them with the chocolate, it actually looks like a nest. So what you're doing now, if you're following for the school cracknell, is just melting all of those ingredients in a big pan on the hob. So you should have your golden syrup, your butter and your cocoa powder in a nice big pan. The reason why you need a big pan is going to put all the cereal in there. We need quite a lot of cereal. So a nice big pan, or if you haven't got a bigger pan, melt all your liquidy ingredients in a small pan and then pour it onto your cereal in a big bowl. But you're going to need a pretty big bowl. So hunt around and see what you've got in your cupboards. Try and use the biggest bowl that you've got. It's just going to make it a lot easier and a lot less messy for you. There we go, melting it all down. Once the last little bit of butter is melted and you can't see any butter lumps, we're just going to leave it heating until it starts to bubble. That's all we need to do. Then this mixture will be ready. Now this is the point where you can kind of have a little taste and see what you think, see what it needs more of. Oh, that tastes really good. It should have a good mix of salty butter, sweet golden syrup, and that nice metallic-y taste that you get from golden syrup, and your fabulous chocolate flavour from your cocoa. I am in fact even going to put in, oh no I can't finish, I was going to put some salt in, but I just realised I've attached my Easter bunting to that cupboard. Right, once your mixture is all melted and it's starting to bubble a little bit, not too much, we don't want it to boil, we just want a little bit of bubbling going on, and all of your cocoa powder is all mixed in. You don't want any lumps of cocoa powder, so make sure when you're mixing that you can't see any lumps of cocoa. Once it's all mixed in and all melted, we can add it to our cereal. So I'm going to bring my pan back over because I need to show you the amount of cereal that you need, because I don't exactly know, it kind of changes. All we really want is for all of the cereal to be completely covered in the chocolate mix. We don't want any dry cereal, but we want quite a lot of cereal. We don't want any bits of runny just chocolate either. I'll put that there, make sure that you can see it, and we're just going to add our cereal to it. So I'm going to pour in a load of my Special Flakes. It's kind of like the healthy as well. So I'm telling myself that if I eat this by the spoonful, which I'm going to, that it's healthy for me, because if the girl in the red swimsuit can eat it, so can I. So add your cereal, whatever that may be, mix it till all of your cereal is coated. You shouldn't be able to see any of the colour of your cereal. It should just be all chocolate coating. Once you get to that point, we're going to add some more. As I say, all you are looking for is for all of the cereal to be completely coated in the mixture, but for there to be no leftover chocolatey syrup. You don't want any leftover chocolate syrup either. You just want it all to be mixed in. So keep mixing after each addition of cereal. Really get in there with your spoon. Oh, your spatula is what I'm using. My spatch. Give it a good mix. And now I'm kind of at the point where I'm still seeing a bit of the colour of the cereal, but I haven't really got any syrup left. So I'm just going to keep mixing a bit. And in any areas at the bottom of your pan, if you can see any bits that are quite thick with syrup, sprinkle on a little bit more cereal. And that's all there is to it, really. You kind of want to add more rather than less cereal, because we want a nice amount of our wonderful nest treats. Right, that's looking good. I'm going to keep mixing this until all of my cereal is completely covered. Don't want any of those bits of flakes to be without a chocolate coating. Woo! Use my other arm. Bit of a workout again. Mix it up, smush it in, make sure none of it flies out of your pan or your bowl. Hopefully you can see in there, hardly any of my flakes are not coated. You want to make sure that you can't see any of the light coloured flakes. All you can see is that lovely chocolate coating on each and every one of them. Really get in there and spread it around, mush them up until everything is well coated. Right, that looks absolutely perfect. Again, you might prefer to have less cereal and more of your syrupy sauce. I'm not going to judge. Whatever you feel works for you is what you should do. Whew, because we're doing well. We're staying at home. We are baking up a storm. We're going to have loads of lovely treats for Easter tomorrow. And we're living life. Yeah. Another sip of your beverage. It's good. We've earned it. It's a good workout today. A lot of mixing with my right arm. And I'm going to bring over my cake tins, my little cupcake tray, homemade cupcake cases then. And I'm going to use 2 spoons to spoon in my mixture. So all we want to do is get a good spoon of mixture into each of our cupcake cases. I'm going to spread them all out evenly first so that I know I've got enough for each one. You want them to fill your cupcake case, or if you're not using cupcake cases, you want them to fill the little hole in your cupcake tray. Whoop. Make sure they're all nice and filled up, and then all we're going to do is use the back of our spoon to make a little kind of well in the middle that our eggs are going to go into. Hopefully you have not used all of your eggs on your cheesecake and you've saved a few for in your nests. We've got a good amount of mixture here, so I think we will be absolutely fine. If you find that you've got leftover mixture, just carry on filling up cupcake cases with it. The tray really helps to keep them in shape, but you can just spoon this into a cupcake case in your hand, if that makes sense. So if you've got more mixture left, you can literally hold your cupcake case in your hand, spoon in your mixture, and leave it to cool outside of the tray. I use the tray mostly to keep everything together and so that I can transport them all in one go. So fill up all your cupcake cases, really nice and full. There'll be plenty of mixture to fill at least 12 cupcake cases. So be generous with them. You don't want to waste any of this. Or do what me and my sister used to do when we were young and my parents used to go out on a Saturday night. We used to just make a big pan of this and just eat it with a spoon. I mean, I say when we were younger, we did this not long ago, maybe last year. Girls' night in, giant big pan of school cracknel and a spoon. That's all you need. Right, there we go. Make sure all of our cases are filled up really well, right to the top. Chop, chop. I've got a bit left, so I will be eating that with a spoon in a bit. And then use the back of your spoon to just create like a little hole, little gap just in the middle with your mixture kind of up around the edge so that you can sit a couple of little eggs in there. Doesn't have to be too perfect. Just kind of, that one needs more mixture. Woo! It's going everywhere. Any bits that drop out, feel free to eat. That's what it's all about. Right, make a little well in each of them. And then we're going to pop a few little eggs in there. And those are our chocolate cracknel nests. Right, get my little eggs out. We need the song again. I think I'm going to have the song, my dad's song again. Alexa, play Erasure Respect. Because it's a great song. And it's my dad's birthday, so I'm allowed to play it twice. Pop your little eggs in there. Smush them in so that they stick. Alexa, volume 10.
I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter.
And then you want to leave these to cool for about an hour. Or just eat them warm.
From breaking my heart, I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason why you making me work so hard. That you keep me no, that you keep me no, that you keep me no, that you keep me no soul. I hear you calling.
I did.
Oh baby.
Alexa, volume 1. And there you have your Easter chocolate cracknel nests. Lovely. I'm going to eat the rest with a spoon because I don't have any more cupcake cases, so I'm going to have to, otherwise it'll go to waste. Hopefully this has gone well for you. We've got our beautiful Easter cracknel and our absolutely amazing Easter chocolate cheesecake as well, which we'll be ready to have later. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I hope you're having a nice Easter and a nice day. And I'm going to go away and leave you now to finish off your, oh, nearly fell over. Finish off your beverages. Finish off decorating your beautiful school cracknel chocolatey nests. And have a great weekend. Now tomorrow, little extra recipe for you. We're going to be making some pizza dough. So, if you would like to make pizza dough, we'll be starting at 11 AM tomorrow. We'll prepare our dough, then we're going to leave it to rest for an hour and a bit, and then it doesn't need a second proof, so we will be shaping it and baking a bit of our pizza dough at around 1:30. So, if you fancy making some pizza dough, I will see you tomorrow at 11 AM. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday at 3 PM for another fabulous baking time. Check your ingredients, check what you need. Try and only do one shot. Stay home, stay safe, and support our NHS. I love you all. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all good and it's going well. Show me pictures of your lovely Easter treats. Bye.